and also from the South, a son of the South, son of very powerful parents too, very powerful parents. Former South Carolina House of Representative, author of a couple of books, including the latest, "The Moment: Thoughts on the Race Reckoning That Wasn't." Okay, let me welcome the one and only Bakari Sellers. Hi.
I don't even get a warm up question. I get dropped
Nope.
right in.
Yes, you
I get
do. You know what it
right in,
is.
right in the
That's
grease.
right. That's right. That's right. You better act like that frog and no, let's go. Let's go. Hi,
So
how are you? Long time no see.
thankful. I'm more blessed than I deserve. Thank you for having me as always. And Ms. Cole, I appreciate your work as well.
Thank you. So nice to meet you.
It's a pleasure.
For those who are just tuning in to the Karen Hunter Show, like you weren't here from the beginning, Bakari Sellers was instrumental in helping that flag come down in South Carolina, the Confederate flag. He was behind the scenes doing all of the legwork and reaching out to the state legislators who needed to actually vote on making that happen. People think, again, why don't you just do it? No, there's a legislative process that happens, and he was the one telling us who was on the fence, and I was on Twitter saying, hey, you, are you on the fence with this flag? State your case, sir. It was a lot that went into it. Bree Newsom, of course, went down, made a public display of taking the flag down, but there was a lot of steps. It wasn't just a petition that I penned. It wasn't just that moment with Bree Newsom. There was things happen in concert with a lot of other things, right? It's just not a magic snap of the fingers. So I just want to, again, every time I see you, I'm reminded of how arduous the political process is to get just one thing done. And it didn't change racism in South Carolina, but it was just one symbolic moment. So I just want to thank you for that.
Not thank you always, and shout out and remembrance. It makes my skin crawl sometimes when my friend Nikki Haley takes credit for the flag coming down, and it kind of puts a bad taste in my mouth because 9 people had to die and 5 others who were in the church had to go through so much just so that we could get that symbol taken down. So I remember Clemente Pinckney often and the work that you did and everybody else did. And so this is every day I live is for people like Clem.
Appreciate that. Do you call Nikki Haley your friend like Stephen A calls Trump and Sean Hannity his friend? Do you do that because the politician is still in you, Bakari?
I do that because we actually at one point were really close. It wasn't a political relationship. We sat beside each other. We're both from the same poor county, Bamberg County. We both grew up in food deserts. When her mama owned Exotica, my mama was the #1 shopper there. Back when we have, issues and conversations about race, I remember her dad, the only job he could get was at Voorhees College, which is an historically Black college or university. And so I know Nikki. I don't, what our relationship is today. And so sometimes in the South, we call people our friend, or we say, bless your heart. And it means a lot more to be desired.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Because, you know.
Kentucky too. So.
Oh.
Well versed in the bless your heart down here.
Exactly.
I mean, it's important because friendship should require something of people. Like if, we're in such a transactional. I feel like everything's transactional. Everybody's trying to sell something, get something, buy something, sell something. But there are people's lives at stake, and
Can't set that aside. I mean, I'm close with Tim Scott, and the way that I in the South is funny, man. We, you all are raised together, grow up together, know each other for a long time. And I described Tim Scott in the Washington Post as somebody I would give a kidney to if he needed it, but I'd never vote for him. And it's just it's a hard environment out here when you see people who are actively working against not only their own self-interest, but yours as well.
Mm. So make it make sense, because these aren't dumb people. As you mentioned, Nikki Haley grew up on a campus of an HBCU. Her mama, her wealth was crafted by Black dollars.
They ain't got no wealth now, but whatever.
Well, okay, well, her mama made a living off of Black dollars.
I was like,
Nikki Haley's rich now. She got a house in Kiowa. Stop playing.
She different now. She different now. Different tax bracket now. She was poor back then, though. She went to a little poor white school too, Orangeburg Prep. These people believe what they say. I used to be on TV with Rick Santorum all the time, and people were like, "Does Rick Santorum believe what he says?" Yeah, he really does. Tim Scott, I look at a little bit differently in that he believes his upbringing is one, and this kind of ties into the clip you were playing earlier about adoption, et cetera. And Tim was raised by a single mother, but he was also spent a lot of time with, the founders of Chick-fil-A, et cetera. And so he was molded and crafted in a way. He went to Charleston Southern, I went to Morehouse College. He went to Charleston Southern, kind of divergent path. Uh,
Wow.
I mean, that is somewhat indicative of our life's path. I firmly believe that he believes the things he's saying, and he believes the path that he's taking is the best one to enhance the plight of Black folk. I just fundamentally disagree with that. I think that the person he's become now, trying to be vice president of the United States, is a different person than he was even a year ago. And he's going to have to wrestle with that between him and his God.
Mm. To Olivia's point, and she works with people who have, you said, was it transracial adoptions? People who are Black adopted by white people, like this UFC fighter who has adopted two young boys, and says that, basically he's not raising Black boys, he's raising men, he's raising boys to be men. To your point, if what's his name, Cathay? Is that his name? Chick-fil-A's Cathay raised Tim Scott. Maybe you're making a point that Olivia's making, that this is not going to end well. This is not a good thing.
But don't cancel the man who adopted these kids. Don't cast him aside, because, and I might get yelled at by your listeners, I think that maybe his heart may have a great deal of redeemable virtue. And that the fact is these Black kids would otherwise not have a home. They would not feel that love. They would not have that shelter. They'd be tossed around from one home to another. And I don't know how to feel about it. I think that there is a lot of assistance we can give this man. It's kind of like when you see biracial children or Black children adopted by white women, and you have to help them learn how to do their hair, right? You have to help them learn how to do their daughter's hair. There's certain things culturally that we as a community are going to have to help step up and help these Black boys, if that father, which I don't know the answer to the question, will be accepting of that. If he's going to be accepting of us filling in some of those gaps culturally so that they understand what it means to be Black in America, then I think that may be okay. If he's trying to raise them to be the next Clay Travis, then that's a problem.